today there's a lot of interest about Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. But we should not forget, how did the problem originate in the first place? Why did the Indian Army not complete its recovery operations? Why did we put ourselves under international pressure? Because that international pressure, which we opened the door for ourselves, continued from 1947 all the way till Article 370 was dealt with. We have corrected an enormous mistake that we had made in 1947. I have given you a China version. I have given you a Pakistan example. Let me speak a little bit about the United States. When we became independent, we had no enemies. Yet within a few years, we have alienated a country like the United States. We have alienated it because we kept taking up China's cause with the United States. You know, our problem started right at the beginning. So the first year problem, and again, it's very interesting. This also goes back to Nehru and Patel. That if you see, Patel opposed our going to the United Nations on the Kashmir issue. And again, it's a very practical. He actually says, do not put yourself at the, at the judgment of other countries who have an interest in this matter. So, disregarding that, we went to the United Nations. And you all know what happened after that. So, when we today, as you know, today there's a lot of interest about Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. But we should not forget, how did the problem originate in the first place? Why, at what point of time, why did the Indian Army not complete its recovery operations? Why did we put ourselves under international pressure? Because that international pressure, which we opened the door for ourselves, continued from 1947 all the way till Article 370 was dealt with. Please understand the importance of what we did with Article 370. We have remedied, we have corrected an enormous mistake that we had made in 1947. And we created a lobby. We created a vote bank lobby. We created a Kashmiri lobby. There were people who were arbitraging that what was, you spoke about telling the Western press. I would show to everybody in the Western press one page of the Constitution. It says temporary provision. Do you know the word temporary in English language? It comes to an end. That is the meaning of the word temporary. But, there's nobody so blind as those who don't want to see. So, if you look at the 370 issue, here again, the earlier era, that somewhere, we must trust the world, we will go to other people, there are wiser people out there, we must subject our national interest to them. That is, now, Kashmir was one example. A second example actually, and again, it has taken this government, Narendra Modi's government in this tenure, to correct that mistake also. This is the Nehru-Liaquat Pact of 1950. Pakistan partition has happened. We can see the violence of the partition. How many people were killed during partition? And yet, we conclude an agreement with Pakistan that you will treat your minorities well and I will treat my minorities well, and this is an agreement between us. If he treated his minorities well, there would have been no partition in the first place. No, he went into partition with a mindset of not treating people of other faith well. Now, see the result of that. Look at the dramatic decrease in the minority numbers there. So we finally were left with this situation where you had minorities in our neighborhood, which is actually a post-partition problem, whose only logical place to go is India. Where else would they go? And yet, when we do something very natural, very logical, we are actually correcting a mistake which we had made 75 years ago. It is made out as though, what kind of mindset have you people brought to bear on this? I'm giving people rights. I'm not taking away anybody's rights. I have not denied citizenship to anybody. I'm telling people who have no other place to go that at least please come here and I will try my best. I will fast track and do whatever I can to help you. So this story can go on and on. I have given you a China version. I have given you a Pakistan example. Let me speak a little bit about the United States. Okay. Because now you will ask, saying, how many things can you get wrong? You got China wrong, you got Pakistan wrong. Oh. Again, history is very interesting. Coming here to this hall, I saw this big statue of Dr. Ambedkar. Now, I don't know how many of you know that when Dr. Ambedkar resigned from the cabinet, he actually gave two speeches. One speech he gave in the parliament, one speech he gave outside the parliament. Whenever you have time, look at it. Because Dr. Ambedkar in that speech actually brings out a very interesting foreign policy criticism. He says, when we became independent, we had no enemies. Yet within a few years, we have alienated a country like the United States. At that time, the most powerful country in the world, still is the most powerful country in the world. And we have alienated it not for our national interest. We have alienated it because we kept taking up China's cause with the United States. Okay. Now, this is not just Dr. Ambedkar. Even, Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee has similar views. At that time, Rajaji had such views. Sardar Patel again, he speaks about how, for us, a strong relationship with the United States is good for national development. When I said a good foreign policy is a foreign policy which actually propels growth, which gets us technology, which gets us resources. We have to understand that there were decisions and choices and positions which were made in the early years after independence, which actually created problems for us with the United States, which took many decades thereafter to sort out.